I can make it there, I'll make it anywhere. It's up to you, New York, New York.
Good morning. How we doing? Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast here on Facebook Live and YouTube. And on today's show, I'm going to be speaking on the utter collapse that was Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals by my beloved New York Knicks. The Martian going yard in a big way, spoiling a good outing earlier in the game from Jacob deGrom in his New York City rearrival, his first time pitching in the Big Apple since joining the Texas Rangers. You ever watch a sports event and the events were so shocking that you just really couldn't go to sleep? Well, I'm going to say this right now. I hope nobody on the Knicks slept yesterday, from Coach Tom Thibodeau down to the ball boys. This was just a pathetic final minute. It's a squandered 30-plus game from Karl Anthony Towns. It's a squandered 40-plus game from point guard Jalen Brunson. And I feel that when you allow a team to stick around like that, you deserve what you get. Knicks were leading by as much as 17 in the fourth. They were up 121 to 112 with under a minute left. And Neesmith caught fire from downtown. No question. No question about that. However, when you make zero adjustments, just countless terrible inbound passes that they were fortunate to not lose, Jalen Brunson over dribbling, critical misses at the free throw line, and then the Tyrese Halliburton almost three, which hit the back of the rim, went straight up and down into the net. Reggie Miller in the house. It's like the perfect recipe for just pure disappointment. I'll be honest, guys. I've been a Knicks fan forever, and I remember very vividly what Reggie Miller did to them in Game 1 of the second round back in the 1995 season. And quite frankly, I really don't believe the Knicks are going to be able to recover emotionally from this. They all but had the game won. I was kind of moving around the house, getting my son ready for bed. I myself was watching the game, but was not overly concerned. But when I saw the threes just going in at a ridiculous ratio and, you know, coaching, I want to talk about coaching for a second. If the New York Knicks save their challenge, they win this game. Rick Carlisle, 2 for 2 on challenges. Critical part of overtime, a potential goaltending that wasn't really turned the game around. And that's something that the Knicks couldn't challenge. A couple of other plays that were challengeable, but The real annoyance with me is that the Jalen Brunson offensive foul that Coach Tom Thibodeau chose to challenge, in my opinion, was a 50-50 play at best. OG Ananobi initially was fouled late after Rick Carlisle challenged. It was proven not to be a foul. It was the right call. But I just don't know how the Knicks picked themselves up off the mat from this. I really don't. I really feel that when you get out rebounded the way the Pacers did, and when you come back on such a ferocious run, being down 17 in the fourth on the other team's home floor, and similar to last season's series with these two teams, I think home court is very important. Now the Knicks have to win one in Indy to win this series. I think the biggest thing that messes with the mind is that essentially, if you're a Knicks player, you feel like you got to win a fifth game now because you essentially had the game won yesterday. Um, just a nightmare final minute, a true nightmare final minute. And when the game went to overtime, I did not have high expectations that the Knicks were going to win. Jalen Brunson, who was playing with 5 fouls, had to kind of do the Olay on defense in overtime. But I'm going to blame this squarely on Coach Tom Thibodeau, and it's deserved. I also didn't like when the Knicks had a 3-point lead with around 20 or so seconds. They immediately put Indy on the line because now you're putting more pressure on your team to hit free throws and making the game longer. If you don't have faith in your team to make a stop, you deserve to lose. And I'll be honest, if you look at the way that the Knicks' body language was in overtime, they were gassed. Charles Barkley, who's wrong an awful lot, was right about one thing. At halftime, he flat out said it. The Knicks cannot continue to run in a 7-game series at the speed that the Pacers play at. And even when the Knicks had a comfortable lead at the half, Barkley was very vocal about that. And ultimately, Charles Barkley was proven right. I just don't see how the Knicks emotionally recover from this. I don't see it. And similar to Reggie Miller, Tyrese Halliburton is starting to become a Knick killer. You know, he has had a propensity for dropping like 28, 30-point games, and then the next game, having a modest like 8 to 10-point performance. But the thing with Tyrese Halliburton is that he's becoming a big moment guy. I can't say enough about Jalen Brunson's performance. When you get that much out of your best player, you're supposed to win. But just the culmination of everything that could possibly go wrong at the worst possible time. This is the kind of loss that would make somebody sick if it was a regular season game. But first game of the ECF in your house, 25 years in the making to get that game in that round again and to lose it like that, I just do not feel good about this at all. Um, my prediction going into this series was Knicks in 7. I know how good this Pacer team is coached. I think Rick Carlisle is one of the absolute best coaches in all of the league. But the pressure is squarely on the Knicks now. Indy already did their job stealing one. And it is a must-win game in game 2. What do the Knicks have to do better to win? Well, finish. That goes without saying. But I think the Knicks need to be better from the free throw line. Knicks need to take smarter shots, better possessions. I saw some sincere panic from all of the Knicks. And I'm sorry, Jalen Brunson included in crunch time. I felt that some of the passes on the inbounds passes late in the game, whether it was overtime or in the fourth, were just hella risky. I don't know what was going on with Josh Hart's sneakers, but he kept slipping. Um, Carl Anthony Towns at game's end literally was winded. Like he was grabbing his sides. And that's a conditioning thing, guys. That is a conditioning thing. The Pacers are the better conditioned team. The Pacers are the better coach team. And that's why the Pacers won yesterday. Am I surprised at the result? I felt coming in that this series could go either way. I'm surprised at the way the Knicks collapsed. Because after seeing what the Knicks did in the Boston series, I felt that the Knicks were a little more mentally tough. But after yesterday, I have to question that now. I truly have to question that now. Um, Oklahoma City, Minnesota tonight is going to be a terrific game. Minnesota is going to have to continue. We talk about finishing. They had an excellent first half in game one, but second half just really got ran off the court. Former Nick Julius Randle was putting together a very good game prior to things getting out of hand for his Timberwolves. But yeah, not going to sugarcoat it. It's a somber, somber feeling for anyone that loves the Knicks, plays for the Knicks, is involved with the Knicks. Um, as a fan for as many years as I am, I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly of all kinds of things involving this franchise. The high moments, legitimate choke moments, things of that nature. But I gotta say, man, I think yesterday you can make a case that this might be the biggest collapse in the last quarter century. Basically, in the 2000s to now, I don't think I've seen a bigger collapse in a shorter period of time than what we witnessed yesterday. And sadly, the closest thing to it is you got to go all the way back to 95 with Reggie Miller. And having Reggie Miller do the game, it even adds more of an eeriness to it. I'll go on record right now. As much as I don't want this to be the case, as much as I don't want to say this, um, Pacers in 6. In one day, my prediction changed from Knicks in 7 to Pacers in 6. And I got news for you. I have been a loyal Knicks fan my whole life. But losing like that in the manner that they lost is the kind of game that makes you not want to watch game two. Almost like they don't deserve me to watch them. Now, of course, I'm going to watch the game. But just truly, truly awful the way that this thing went down. And I'm not really sure how you rally a team after losing like that. I really don't know. Halftime, the Knicks had tied their best output of the season at the half in terms of points scored. The rebounding was a huge advantage for the Knicks, which is why it's even more remarkable that they lost. And then, like I said, when you get 80 plus points combined out of your two best offensive threats in Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson, you're supposed to win that game no matter what. You have to find a way to win that game. Anything less is unacceptable. But this is the harsh reality. I don't see the Knicks winning a game in Indy. And if the Knicks slip up and can't win game two, and if they really can't overcome the immediate pressure from their choke job yesterday, this could be quick. This could be Pacers in 4 or 5. That's all I got on this for now. But I tell you, I went to bed just like in the absolute most stunned mood. I wasn't upset. I wasn't angry. I wasn't anything like that. I was just literally stunned. And I'm sure a lot of Knicks fans felt that sentiment. Seeing that goaltending play not get called and knowing that we could do nothing about it because of Tom Thibodeau's erroneous challenge way early in the game. And you kept hearing the TNT guys say it. This is why you save your challenges. It's the same thing in the NFL where you feel like guys get a little too aggressive throwing the red flags. This is something that was avoidable, but checkmate Rick Carlisle. Rick Carlisle outcoached Tom Thibodeau. No two ways about it. And the Knicks allowed this team to stay in the game too long. But like I said, my biggest turnoff about how things transpired in this game, I was just not pleased when you have a 3-point lead and you're basically giving Indy points because you are that terrified that you cannot guard the 3-point line. These guys are professionals. You know which way they're going. The guy hit 6 in a row in the fourth. You know that he's the shooter. Naismith's the shooter. Do better, Knicks. Championship teams don't lose games like that. Bottom line. Championship teams do not lose games like that. And I'm going to call out Knicks fans for a second, too. I understand that there is a real buzz and a real excitement about this team because of how long it's been since the Knicks have had any real success. But to say that if you're an observer from a different team around the country that you're not jovial and celebrating about the Knicks' failure, how could you not be? These Knicks fans are on some other shit. Like if we've been winning as much as we have. I understand the excitement, no question. But perhaps this is something that can hone down Knicks fans a little, to be a little more humble, because karma does have a funny way of working. You know, Knicks have some of the greatest fans in the world, but there is a small contingent of this fan base that is cringeworthy. Every fan base has a contingent that's cringeworthy. But you see a lot of this come out when the Knicks are doing well. Some of it's quite comical. I find it funny that Fat Joe suddenly has become such a Knicks fan. I didn't see that dude repping that team on that level when things were not great. You got Celebrity Row of guys that are legitimately Knicks fans. I'm not going to get into all that. But at the end of the day, I've been a Knicks fan since 1992. My original basketball love was not the Lakers, but Magic Johnson as a very, very young person. Basically, the second that Magic Johnson retired, I followed the local team. Similar to how a lot of people grew up loving Michael Jordan. They weren't Bulls fans, they were Jordan fans. Well, I was a Magic Johnson fan. But the second that Magic retired unceremoniously, I've been rocking with the Knicks since 92. And I must admit, I think this is the worst loss in the history of the franchise. And that's including Pat Riley not taking out John Starks in Game 7 of the 94 finals. That's including the collapse in 95. That's including the P.J. Brown body slam on Charlie Ward. That's saying something when I can say that this might be the worst loss in Knicks history. I really like this team. I think this team could be special, but I just don't see it at this level with the stakes this high coming back after you basically just gave away a game. I hope they can prove me wrong, but I'm going to tell the God's honest truth. I am not optimistic. Something that I'm a little more optimistic about. Yesterday, really got to see a hell of a pitching duel between Ryan Yarbrough, who the Yankees signed during the season, a guy who was a former starter, also a middle relief guy, most notably with the Tampa Bay Rays, going pitch for pitch with the great Jacob deGrom. DeGrom, of course, World Series champion, didn't contribute much in Texas's run because of his own injuries. But a guy who is just stellar to watch. I had the privilege of watching him against the Phillies in a game. The guy is just electric. And when he's healthy, I don't think there's too many people that could even be in his class currently in Major League Baseball. Yankees were able to finesse a couple of runs. And then late in the game, Jason Dominguez playing hero, hitting his first career walk-off home run. And in fact, it's the first walk-off home run since the 22 season for the Yankees. Yankees are really playing good ball, and I believe that that Mets series kind of reinvigorated them. But the Yankees currently hold the second best record in the American League, only behind A.J. Hinch's Detroit Tigers. What I'm most encouraged with the Yankees right now is that gradually over the course of the last 7-8 days, Devin Williams has been shaving down that ERA in his lower leverage situation. It's still high leverage depending on who you draw in the batter's box, but he was demoted from the closing role, but in 7 and in 8, whenever he's been called on, he's been very good. Luke Weaver, can't say enough about him. Excellent closer. And I think all Yankee fans are patiently waiting for the arrival of Luis Gil for the season, as he is last year's American League Rookie of the Year. But the Yankees right now looking good. I wanted to ask your guys' thoughts on Juan Soto. He's been catching a lot of flack after not running hard out of the box. The Mets were able to salvage a game in that Boston series, but the Mets have been on a bit of a slide. The Mets have definitely been on a bit of a slide, losing 4 of their last 6 as the Phillies have taken over first place in the National League East. And there's going to be a lot of that during the course of the season. You're still over a month out from the All-Star game. But the Dodgers also running into some troubles lately. Shohei Ohtani ramping up his pitching program. He should be back pitching soon. And I got to admit, guys and girls, it took a lot for me to even want to do this show today. Looking at the way the Knicks lost yesterday just really hurt my soul. Just a crushing, crushing defeat. But get at me in the comments, guys. Let me know what you think. Can the Knicks turn this series around? Or is this just going to be another chapter in futility against this Indiana Pacers franchise? The Pacers have won 5 out of the 8 series that these teams have played. And after what I saw yesterday, it looks like it's soon to be a 6th playoff series win. A lot of series left, but when you give one up like that, essentially it feels like you got to win 5 now. It reminds me a little bit of the Sacramento Kings losing that heartbreaker to the Los Angeles Lakers. I felt that the Kings had to win 5 games. Now, of course, Donahue, who was convicted and went to jail, was on that series. So I will go as far as saying that might not even be comparable because that may have not even been on the up and up. But until next time, I am Richie Knicks. You got to dig deep now. You got to dig deep. Have a great day, everyone.